بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. من يهدي الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear sisters, my dear daughters, welcome back to a new episode of Beautiful Names of Allah and Asma Allah al-Husna. Today, inshallah, we have two beautiful names, and the two names are related to each other, and they are all the time should be mentioned together. And it's mentioned in the hadith of Prophet Muhammad, and actually in the Quran they came in the meanings of the ayat, as we're going to see inshallah. First of all, that we're going to start with the hadith of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, that verily Allah has 99 names, 100 but one. Whosoever knows each and every one of them, believe in them and works according to them, enter the paradise. We and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be from those who are believing and understanding his names. Today, inshallah, we're going to have the two names that related to each other. They are the names ALMUHEE-ALMUMEET. ALMUHEE-ALMUMEET. ALMUHYI, the giver of life. ALMUMEET, the bringer of death. As I mentioned, these two names related to each other and mentioned together, and they didn't come literally in the Quran, but just came as in form of verbs and in other forms that we're going to see, inshallah. Regarding the meanings of these two names, that one of the scholars, Al-Ghazali, very famous scholar, explained that these two names, stating that no one or none is the creator of life and death but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here we are mentioning the creation of life and death, and this is what's been mentioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the beginning of Surah Al-Mulk. Surah Al-Mulk, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that تبارك الذي خلق تبارك الذي له ملك السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الغفور الذي خلق الموت والحياة. So الذي خلق الموت والحياة means that Allah who created the death and the life. So the death and the life are two creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah created the life and Allah created the death. So He is the creator of life and death. Allah gives life to things that are dead, and this is very obvious examples that we are usually seeing every day, how the seeds germinating to plants, how the soil that being bared of any plants after it has the water of the rain fall on it, it starts to germinate and have the plants and fruits and other things. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Al-Muhyi, the giver of life, give also the life for the dead hearts. And this is another meaning of the giver of life. The life is not only to live, to eat, and to drink, and to reproduce. No, there is another life. It is the life of the hearts, and this is, we're going to have it in details, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the life taker. He is also the bringer of death, or the life taker, as every living creature dies. This is one of the meaning of Al-Mumeet, or the bringer of death. Now let's start with the places the meaning of Al-Muhyi-Al-Mumeet in the Quran. We'll find many verses we'll go through. We'll just start with Surah Al-Baqarah. Surah Al-Baqarah, as we mentioned before, that the two names are related to each other. In Ayah 28 in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that Allah is saying, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, كَيْفَ تَكْفُرُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَكُنْتُمْ أَمْوَاتًا فَأَحْيَاكُمْ ثُمَّ يُمِيتُكُمْ ثُمَّ يُحْيِيكُمْ ثُمَّ إِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. Allah is mentioning here, how can you deny Allah when you were lifeless? كنتم أمواتا, lifeless, and he gave you life. Then he puts you to death, ثم يميتكم. Then he brings you back to life, ثم يحييكم. Then to him you are returned. Actually, the meanings of such ayah is very, very important, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that there are two deaths and two lives. Two deaths and two lives. The first death, when we were lifeless, when we came from none, we were still in what we call it, or call it by the Prophet in the words of Dhar, Alam al-Dhar. Alam al-Dhar, it was the none. We were none. We were still, did not came to this life. So this is the first death that we were in before coming to this life. We were not present. So this is the first death. We were lifeless, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us life, gave us life by being babies and embryos in the wombs of our mothers. So this is the first life we being given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then after a certain time of our age, after years, we will die. So this is the second death. The second death will happen to us. And then Allah will bring us again to life. This is the reviving us during the day of judgment. And then to him we will return. So this is, we have two deaths and we have two lives. And this is mentioned also clearly in ayah number 11 in Surah Ghafir, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning رَبَّنَا أَمَتَّنَا اثْنَتَيْنِ وَأَحْيَيْتَنَا اثْنَتَيْنِ, which means that this is on the what the disbelievers is saying at the day of judgment, that our Lord, you made us, bring us death twice, and you brought us life twice. So this is being mentioned in Surah Ghafir and here in Surah Al-Baqarah, as we are saying. So we were lifeless when we were none, we were not existent, there is not existent in this life, and after our existence as embryos we have the life, and then after death, this is a second death, and the second life when being revived back by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during the day of judgment. In Surah At-Tawbah, Allah is mentioning Inna lillah, inna Allah lahu mulku samawati wal ard yuhyi wa yumit. وَمَا لَكُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ مِن وَلِيٍّ وَلَا نَصِيرٍ. Here, the verb come that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, indeed to Allah belongs the dominions of the heavens and the earth, and He gives life and He causes death. And apart from Allah, you have neither ally nor supporter. So here, the meanings of Al-Muhee-Al-Mumeet came in the verb itself, that what Allah is doing. He's giving the life and he's causing the death. In Surah Al-Hajj, ayah number 6, Allah is mentioning ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْحَقُّ وَأَنَّهُ يُحْيِي الْمَوْتَ وَأَنَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. That's because indeed Allah is the truth, and because indeed He gives life to the dead, and because indeed He is all powerful over everything. Well, actually here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioning the giving life and putting into death or bringing death, that give us the life and death, which mean here come with the meaning of powerful. Usually when you feel about the death of someone happened, so this was one of the clear signs of the powerfulness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the one who caused the death and at the same time He gave life to others. So these two actions, the reviving and the dying process, is a sign of powerfulness. In Surah Al-Mu'minun, ayah number 80, وَهُوَ الَّذِي يُحْيِي وَيُمِيتُ وَلَهُ اخْتِلَافُ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah is mentioning, and it is He who gives life and causes death, and to Him is the alternation of night and day. Do you not reason? أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us the image of the day and night, and how the day come after the death of the night, and the night come after the death of day. That's why it comes the life of the life and death, because life of the night is starts after death of the day, and life of the day start after death of the time of the night. So this is just to give us another imaging of how the death and life is. We can see it every day. Also in Surah Ar-Rum, Ayah 19, He brings out the living from the dead, and He brings out the dead from the living, and He revives the land after it has died, and likewise they are brought out. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is giving us another example of the bringing life and causing death by how the life can come from the death, and how the death can come from the life. How it happens, when Allah is mentioning bringing out living from the dead, a very striking example that we are used to see it every day is the soil. The soil that come out from it, the plants, before the plants germinating, it was just dead. It was just soil buried under the dust, and there is no signs of life in these seeds. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by His power, made these seeds start to germinate after falling the water on it, and give different types of plants and fruits and vegetables. And even this is another miracle. By the same water to the soil can give us different parts of the vegetables and fruits, and we prefer to eat this or eat that. This is another also miracle. The other example is brings out dead from the living. Brings out dead from the living. There is another also example we can have, for example, a pregnant woman who has abortion. So what happened in the abortion, if the stillbirth or the baby is died, and being out of her, she is alive, and she brought out the dead body out of her, which is the stillbirth or the baby, the died baby. This is another many examples. I'm just bringing something to be clear for all of us. So Allah, by giving us these examples that we are seeing it every day in our life, or hearing even about it. So when He's talking about the reviving back the death and reviving back during the day of judgment, it will not be something to be astonished or something to be surprised from. Another ayah in Surah Ar-Rum. Actually, Surah Ar-Rum is a very nice surah. I just advise you to read it, regarding the concepts of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala power, and how creation, and most of the ayat taking the technique of questioning, that giving you a way to just be more attentive and focused on reading it. In ayah 24 in Surah Ar-Rum, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ يُرِيكُمُ الْبَرْقَ خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا وَيُنَزِّلُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً فَيُحْيِي بِهِ الْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْقِلُونَ. And of His signs is that He shows you lightning, causing fear and hope. And He bestows water from the sky, and with it He revives the earth after its death. Indeed, in that are signs for people who reason. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ending the ayah with reasoning, thinking. You have to be thinking about what Allah, examples that you are seeing every day. Here, Allah is taking another example. Focus with me. Now, by the passing ayat, we take examples about the day and night. We took an example about the germinating seeds from the soil. The example here, a third one with us, is about lightning. How when we see lightning, we are all fear from the lightning, and then from the thunder after that, so causing us to fear, and at the same time hope. The hope coming The hope coming from that it will rain after that, and usually rain is important for germinating and for planting and for source as water supply. Many things, good things come from rain, like this day. Actually, it is a very useful day today, actually, for all of us. So the water comes from the sky. This water revives the earth after its death. Indeed, this is the signs that we should think about it. So here, Allah is mentioning the process of waterfall from the sky, from the starting of lightning, and how we feel towards this lightning, that we will waiting for the life to come, which means lightning to us is life, meaning to us life. This is the hope. In Surah Al-Rum also, in Ayah 50, Allah is mentioning فانظر إلى آثار رحمة الله كيف يحيي الأرض بعد موتها إن ذلك لمحيي الموتى وهو على كل شيء قدير. Allah is mentioning here, so look at the effect of Allah's mercy, how He revives the earth after its death. Indeed, He is the reviver of the dead, and He is all powerful over everything. So Allah again subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning a reviving of earth, that it is an example that what will happen to the earth will happen to you. As He revived the earth and bring the plants out of the earth, He will brought you out of your graves. Usually this image is coming many surahs. Also in Surah Yasin, the same is coming. That Allah is making us, even the unseen. For example, our revival during the day of judgment is, for example, is ghaib. For us is ghaib, unseen. So even this unseen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making us to imagine it by having a vital examples that we are seeing every day. Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned in hadith sahih to the Sahaba that he said, Wallahi innakum latamutuna kama tanamun wa tub'athuna kama tastayqidun. What does it mean? That Prophet Muhammad is making an example for the companion that you will die as when you are, as if you are sleeping, as if you are going to sleep. This is what will happen when you die. You will die like sleeping, and will be revived back like waking up from sleep. This is hadith by Prophet Muhammad, which give us an example to make it near, to make the image near to us, even if it will happen in the unseen, but to make it more easier to can imagine it. In Surah Al-Ghafir, ayah 68, Allah is mentioning هو الذي يحيي ويميت فإذا قضى أمرا فإنما يقول له كن فيكون. It is He who gives life and death. Allah is there to give life and death. So whenever He decrees a matter, He only says to it be, and so it is. Be and it is. So at the time or this moment or the second or whatever the time, Allah A'lam, Allah know best, when He say be to anything, it will be, it is present already. So as we mentioned that the death and life are the two creators of creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah created. We have Surah Al-Hadid, ayah number 16 and 17. And actually I brought this ayah just to mention another angle of the giving life. We mentioned giving life means a life that you be alive, eating and drinking and walking and marry, have children, have husband, whatever you have. This is all the signs of life for the mankind. But there is another type of life. What is this type? This is what mentioned in this surah, and especially in these two ayahs. Allah is saying, and He is talking to the believers, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم يئن للذين آمنوا أن تخشع قلوبهم لذكر الله وما نزل من الحق ولا يكونوا كالذين أوتوا الكتاب من قبل فطال عليهم الأمد فقست قلوبهم وكثير منهم فاسقون. اعلموا أن الله يحيي الأرض بعد موتها قد بينا لكم الآيات لعلكم تعقلون. Allah is mentioning here, isn't the time came yet for the believers to have their hearts to become reverent towards Allah, reminder, and to which came down from the truth, and do not be like those who given the scriptures previously, but for whom time became prolonged, so that their hearts hardened, and many of them are defiantly disobedient. Know that Allah revives the earth after its death. We have made the signs evident for you that you may reason. Here are 2 or 4 key words in these 2 ayahs. First ayah is the heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the heart, 2 types of heart. The first type will be reverent to Allah. The heart should be reverent and return back to Allah. And the other type of the heart is the hard heart. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning in the second ayah, know that Allah revived the earth after its death. Now the earth is hard, the soil is hard. While what will happen when the water fall on the earth, it will have the plants and the vegetables and the fruits, whatever. What about these fruits? They are soft, they are kind. It's not like the hard was present in the soil. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he bring ayah 17, that give us another image that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with his mercy will make some of these hardened hearts will be reverent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and will be full of humbleness and softness and will repent to Allah. But despite of saying all that, he gave us an image that we can understand by saying that, know that Allah can do that, can revive the earth. The earth is a hard-hearted. The people that they are heedless, in a heedless heart, they are not forgiving, they're forgetting Allah. So those people, Allah can, by his mercy, will revive their hearts back like what he did in the earth. Revive the earth, the hard soil, to the kind and the soft plants coming from it. So as if Allah give the life of these hard hearts to be soft hearts. So there is another type of life. This is another type of life that we're going to say. It's not the life that I eat, I drink, I marry, I have others, I have house, I have car, it is a life. But there is another life for the heart. For the heart, the life of the heart is to know Allah, to be sure that Allah is around you and support you all the time. This is the real life. So this is the life what Allah mentioning in this ayah. In Surah Al-Baqarah, there is another example about the life and death also. How the life and death being mentioned by a tyrant. When you're speaking to a tyrant about the life and death, what he will say. So this is a very interesting story happened by Prophet Ibrahim, and conversation between Prophet Ibrahim and one of the tyrants at that time, king. His name is Namrud, and he was of course disbelievers, and like the pharaohs, like all the tyrants, in every time he thinks that he is the Lord, he is a deity, he is a god, that all the people should worship him. So when he heard about Prophet Ibrahim, he wants to say, he wants to have a debate with him. So what happened in this debate? This came in this ayah 258 in Surah Al-Baqarah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم تر إلى الذي حاج إبراهيم في ربه أن آتاه الله الملك إذ قال إبراهيم ربي الذي يحيي ويميت قال أنا أحيي وأميت قال إبراهيم فإن الله يأتي بالشمس من المشرق فأت بها من المغرب فبهت الذي كفر والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. Haven't you seen the one who debated Abraham about his Lord? Because Allah had given him authority. He thought when Allah given him authority, he started to have certain bad thoughts in his mind. So when Ibrahim said, my Lord is the one who gives life and causes death, he said, the tyrant, the king, I give life and cause death. He brings two prisoners and he left one of them to be still alive and take the other one and ordered his soldier to kill him. So by doing such actions, he thought himself that he give life and he caused death. This is the bad thoughts, the ignorance that's in the mind of those people. They think that if he kills someone, so he brought death to him. It's not like that. If he died in the reality, but he died because his time and his age finished. This is supposed to be in the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that his time in dunya or in life ended by a cause. The cause is any cause, killing or just having disease or anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his decree. So Allah is the one who, as we mentioned, created the death. The death is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is not that tyrant who killed that person. So here Prophet Abraham is teaching us that when you have a debate with an ignorant person, arrogant, ignorant, and he doesn't know and just want to say no and I can do and so, don't go further in certain point. When this point he think that he thought that when he left someone alive, so he made him alive and killed the other one, so he gave him this. So Prophet Ibrahim, in a very intelligent way, he diverted the conversation to another point by telling him Allah brings the sun from the east, so you bring it from the west. What is the answer? Thus the denier was confounded. Indeed, Allah does not guide the unjust. So this is what happened. This is a type of debate, just by the way, I just wanted to tell you. But here in this ayah, we can see how the tyrant is thinking about themselves in the issue of the death and reviving. Now we'll come to the benefits. We have lots of benefits from the two names. We'll try to make it quickly, inshallah. First of all, we have to remember these two names and call Allah by them. We have to usually call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by his name, Al-Muhyi, the giver of life, by giving us the needs that we need in our life, and by giving us the most important is the life of our hearts that we are going to say now. So we have to use the name of Al-Muhyi to revive our hearts. This is very number one. For Al-Mumeet, how to call Allah by his name Al-Mumeet, that you ask Allah when your time come to death, that you be at the best time of worshiping him. Some people are usually making dua for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take their soul while they are prostrating, sujood, while they are doing good deeds, while whatever the good deeds. And there is a famous dua for Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, Allahumma akhtim bis-salihati a'malana. Please, Allahumma, our Lord may seal our deeds by a good one. Akhtim bis-salihati a'malana. So when we are making dua to Al-Mumeet, you all the time ask him, or remember that when the time ends or our life finishes in this life, we ask Allah to be the best time of worshiping him. Another dua by Prophet Muhammad said, Allahumma ij'al akhir kalamana la ilaha illallah. This last words to be mentioned by us in the last second in our life is La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. This is a sign of a good deed. So our relations with Al-Mumeet. We have certain points to go through to know how to live with the name of Allah Al-Mumeet, which means that take care of the life or the bringing of death. Priorities. Priorities is very important. We have to prioritize things in your life. Work on yourself. Work on your characters. Work on your defects. You have to correct yourself and increase our good deeds. We have to increase our good deeds. To make priorities will make life easier, will make your life easier, will not make you put burdens on yourself and start to think about many things that make you angry, make you anxious. How she told me like that, how she did like that, my relatives been long time she didn't call me, and when she called me she said so and so and so. All these things, when you just imagine this is your last day, what you will do if it is your last day. This is always a question that every day we should ask ourselves. If today is our last day, what should we do? So prioritization is very important, very, very important. Number two, pray. During your praying, praying is the relation between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you come to Allah and start praying, think that Prophet Muhammad, when he mentioned that, you think that is your last prayer. One of the most effective ways to do the khushu'ah or the devotion in the prayer, by praying as if it were your last, as the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ advised. Every time he used to lead the companions in during the salah, he mentioned pray as if it was last prayer for you. Number three, live the way you wish to die with sincerity. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, when Allah wills good for his slave, he sweetens him. He was asked, what is this sweetening, Ya Rasulullah? He said, Allah guides him to do righteous deed before he dies. Then he takes his souls while he is in that state. This is a very interesting, actually, and a very glad-tiding hadith, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he wants to enter one of his servants to the paradise and to have the pleasure on him, he sweetens, yu'astilu in Arabic, yu'astilu, make it like honey. What is like honey? To make his remembrance around the people around him is honey. When people are talking about him as if they are having honey in their mouths. So this is sweetening. So he inspires him to do the good deeds. And when he dies, he will die at the same state, at the same case. And this is a great favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have this decree on one of his slaves. So all of us, when we found ourselves doing the good deeds, stay on these good deeds. Not try to change it or forget it or do other things. Stay on your good deeds. And all the time also is praise Allah and say Alhamdulillah for guiding you to do that. Dua is another way of our relation with Al-Mumeet. The Prophet Yusuf, Surah Yusuf, has a supplication of Prophet Yusuf in Ayah 101 by saying, cause me to die a Muslim and join me with the righteous. So here the Prophet is a prophet, and actually he is a son of a prophet, and his grandfather is a prophet, and his father of the grandfather is a prophet. And all these things, and then he just asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to join, just make me join to the righteous people, which make us feel that we need the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to ask Allah all the time just to push us from the hellfire. Allah is mentioning فَمَنْ زُحْزِحَ عَنِ النَّارِ وَأُدْخِلَ الْجَنَّةَ فَقَدْ فَازَ. The one who just pushed from the hellfire, خلاص, he is a winner now. So this is what we have to say in our dua, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He take our life, we are to be a Muslim. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, a person whose last words in this life are La ilaha illallah, there is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will enter paradise. Will enter paradise. Number 5, to love for the sake of Allah your sisters. This is very important. I just advise myself and advise our sisters that are joining anything for the sake of Allah. Quran halaqas, lessons like we have today, charity projects for any any aim for charity projects, or anything for the sake of Allah. And you have a group of sisters that you are engaged, all of you engaged in this project, or in this lesson, or in this halaqah. This is very important, my sisters and my daughters. For daughters also, I just advise you to try to make a common project between you, all my daughters who are hearing me now. You have your groups on WhatsApp. Please try to make a project that all of you join together in reading Quran, reading one page of Quran per day, and then the one who read just to send a sign, I read today one page. Try to do that. It will be a very good thing that all of you will be engaged for the sake of Allah. Why I'm telling that? Because as they will make dua when any one of us will pass away, and those gathering sisters that were used to be meet for the sake of Allah will make dua for the if one of them passed away. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will gather them all in groups. They will accept the dua and accept the intercession, and will gather them in groups to enter the Jannah together. As they were together in the dunya, they were together during entering the Jannah, as mentioned in Surah Az-Zumar, ayah 73. But those who feared their Lord will be driven to paradise in groups. The groups that been in life will enter together in the paradise. When they reach it, while its gate have been opened, when the gate of the paradise is opened and the keepers of the gate, the angels waiting for them as a making ceremony for them, peace be upon you, salamun alaykum, you have become pure, طبتم, so enter it to abide eternally, خالدين فيها, ادخلوها ادخلوا الجنة خالدين فيها, which means that ادخلوها, enter it, to abide eternally therein, to stay forever in this Jannah. So as they were groups in the life, so they will enter the Jannah also in groups. In addition to this ceremony, they have the ceremony and the great celebrations by the angels of the Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all of them, Ya Rab. Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam also told us, when a man dies, his good deeds come to an end, except of 3: ongoing charity, sadaqah jariyah, beneficial knowledge, and righteous offspring who will pray for him. This is the hadith is in Muslim, and very famous hadith. Another hadith also about how to make your deeds still running even if you passed away. The good deeds that will reach a believer after his death are knowledge, which he learned and then spread, a righteous son whom he leaves behind, a copy of Quran that he leaves as a legacy, mosque that he built, and in other hadith, Prophet Muhammad said, even if you have one brick, if you have one brick in the building of a mosque, you will have the ajr of building a mosque. A house that he built for the wayfarers, a canal that he dug, or charity that he gave during his lifetime when he was in good health. These deeds will reach him after his death. This is another hadith, Rawahu Ibn Majah. The last point in our relation to name of Allah, Al-Mumeet, to pay your debt. This is very important. Debt should be paid, and how you know that, you try, which means that you try to make the debt as least as you can, at least as يعني this is not to be something common in your life. If you have debt, you have to finish it as soon as possible, because actually the debt will suspend the account, the jaza, or the account, the rewards. If there is a believer and he will not take the rewards or the glad tidings about his good deeds when he has a debt, the debt should be paid first. And this is a very famous story about one of the companions that he died, and the Prophet Muhammad asked about any debt on him. He said yes, he had debt, so he ordered one of the companion and Sahaba to pay his debt, because his rewards will be suspended until paying his debt. Quickly, we'll go to the relationship with Al-Muhyi, the giver of life, to feel the greatness and powerful of Al-Muhyi. Number one, to see his daily signs being shown to you, as we mentioned in the previous ayat, to ask Allah to give life to your heart, as we mentioning, very important, this life of the heart, and being mentioned clearly in Surah Al-An'am, ayah 122, is he who was lifeless, when we revived him and made for him a light by which he walks among mankind, as one whose likeness is in darkness, never emerging from them. Thus, whatever the denier have been doing was adorned for them. This is an example Allah is giving to the believer who are believing in Allah and he's sincerely worshipping him as a light. He is as a light walking between the people. This is the example of the true believer. On the contrary, the disbeliever is like the one who just lost in the darkness. When that whose likeness in darkness never emerging. You imagine yourself in a dark room. There is no tiny source of light in this room. What you will do? You will start shouting. You will start trying to go out by any means from this room. You start to do these abnormal movements. You don't have any target. You don't have any vision. You don't have anything. You will just live your life like that. This is the striking two example between someone with his light, giving the light to the others and to himself, and the other one who is darkened, who all his life is dark and he is lost. He doesn't know anything, the aim of life, why he came to this life, what's his mission in this life. This is the darkness. This is what the believers living. So we have to take the steps to be closer to Allah, to revive our hearts, to be light for us, and to lightening for us, and to lighting for us, for others, through prayers, through remembering him, and through good company, as we mentioned. Do not lose hope of guidance of others, as Al-Muhyi, who give life to the soil, may give life to the heedless heart. This is another benefits of knowing Al-Muhyi. Even if you are seeing now the sister, you know that she's not doing fully good deeds, but just pray for her and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide her heart. Show the gratefulness to Al-Muhyi, who guided you to his obedience, and give life to your heart by being the guidance light for others. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Ma'idah, ayah 32, he mentioned about Banu Israel. Because of that, we prescribed for the children of Israel that whoever kills a human or a self, of course, unless it is not for murder or for corruption in land, as if he has killed all the mankind together. And whoever gives life to it, to the self or to the human, as if he gave life to the mankind all together. What does it mean? How I give life to others? Yes, you can give life to others by actually by the two meanings. By the two meanings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is make you a cause to save someone's life. If someone in danger and you are only the one in the scene, you try to do your best to save his life. Actually, you are not one the saver. You are a cause of Allah to save the life of this person. So this is number one of the ayat meaning. Number two, to save the other hearts, to make it more, to give life to him. How to give life? To make him more near to Allah, to just teach him a meaning of ayah, teach him meaning of hadith, give him advice for the sake of Allah. All this another meaning of how to give life to your sister. This is the two meaning, either to save her life by during an accident, God forbid, or something like this, by helping her, supporting her, or by helping and supporting to revive back her heart. So this is, if you do this with one sister, so as if you did with all the women, all the self, all the women and all the men, because Allah is mentioning to mankind. To mankind means all mankind, women and men and children, all the mankind on the earth. So see how much the rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that if one of the sisters being guided on your hand, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made you a cause that this sister be guided to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us guidance light for others. And at the last, I will try to finish today with our related story about ALMUHEE-ALMUMEET. Many stories and many examples we took in the Quran, but actually I would take it in short. I rather prefer to speak about Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. He is the second Khalifat and one of the 10 men promised heaven by Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. How his heart after Islam was a vital heart. Heart is full of the love of Allah and His Messenger. And all the people was talking about his justice, and how when he just took the caliph for the Khilafah for just 10 years, all the Islamic conquested around the main two empires at that time, Romanian and Persian Empire, how this conquest was on his time. And at the same time, he didn't have much in his home. He was every night, as we mentioned before in other related story, he was trying to see if any one of the people needs help, of the poor people, of the needy, and this and at the same time, he was not having a palace or a throne or a jewelry, or all the kings that are now or previously we can know about them. So this all happened because the Islam and the true Islam, the true belief of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was in his heart. And this is the vital heart, as we mentioned, the life heart. When the life of Iman, when the life come to your heart, you will find all since the heart is a pumping organ, it will pump the blood of Iman to all your organs. It will bump it to your eyes, so you will never see something that Allah forbid. It will bump it to your mouth. You will never see the bad words. It will bump it to your ears. You will not hear any bad things or things that you don't like or against Islam. You will not walk to bad places with your feet. You will not touch something that is haram for you. You will not eat something not being permitted by Allah. This is the heart. The heart is the pumping organ for all the other organs. If you have a good heart, so you have everything. If you have a heart believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not hard heart. And surprisingly, when we are talking about Umar before Islam, when he had a heedless heart, when he was hating Muslim, when you know that the day he already have the Shahada and became a Muslim with Prophet Muhammad, he was the same day he wanted to kill Prophet Muhammad. He was taking his sword and he went to kill him. And while he was in his way, one of the Muslims was afraid about the Prophet. Still in Mecca, all that happened. And he mentioned to him, you were going to kill Muhammad, just see your sisters and her husband. They already entered Islam. He was very angry and he went to his sister's home and house, and he saw her reciting Quran with her husband. He beated her, and he beated her on her cheeks, and started the blood coming from her mouth. When he saw the blood, he remembered that she is his sister. So he wanted to know what happened to make him just beat his sister. She told him, "This is the Quran that we are reading." He wanted to read. She refused. She told him, "You have to go and wash before you come and take this book or this paper." That it was the beginning. It was Surah Taha actually that they were reciting. He started to recite. He started to cry. He started to feel that this is not the words of Muhammad or words of any mankind. And then he decided to go to Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. And the Sahaba was very anxious about that, and they were afraid that he may kill Prophet Muhammad actually, because he was having the intention when he got out from his house. But when he reached, he started to say, "Oh Muhammad, I want to be a Muslim." And it was a great victory at that time for the Muslim in Mecca that we're going to see inshallah tomorrow in the Sirah. So this is Islam. This is the true Iman. This is the belief to change the heedless heart who hated Islam, who buried his daughter alive, to a person, another person, who did all the justice things, who did all the great things that we heard about Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. سبحانك الله بحمدك لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.